My. I'm just going to wait a few moments. Just a few moments. I'll wait for one person to come in. Most of the times, I don't mind talking to myself. But there's some serious stuff. A nice little quiet neighborhood. Hello, one person. Stay for a spell so I could talk to you. Come in the chat and say hello. All right, so listen. In case you don't know who Rudemp is, I've seen him around over the years. But somebody doxed him and discovered that he had a case against him. I think he was like 11 years old in 1998, and he did something to a 6-year-old child. Don't know if it was a male or female. Child is a child. When it comes to sexual abuse, sexual assault, don't matter the gender, right? And so, hey, Concrete, thank you. And so, I've been jumping around YouTube streets, and I heard him talking about the situation, saying that there was a bunch of kids and something happened, and it was like an older kid who did it, and all the kids sat around and said, you take the rap, because you ain't going to get in that much trouble. You just going to get an ass whooping. And so he did, and a week later, the authorities picked him up, and it wasn't until then he realized that this was some bullshit. But long story short, he was like on child probation, I'm paraphrasing, and then he went on adult probation, and he was like on probation for many, many years, according to him. Now, what I just told you, what he said, that's all bullshit. Well, I know it's all bullshit. And here's why. Because I know kids just like Rudemp was when he was 11. They're predators. He was 11, she was 6. Or he was 6, the child was 6. I wouldn't call him a child molester. No, he's a sexual predator. Again, I know kids just like him. So, obviously, he's holding back. And tell you the truth, as he should. I don't even know why he said anything to these YouTube streets. I mean, who are these people? That, they're just, who are these people? But I guess to some people, these YouTube streets are real important to them. But, yeah, should have just kept his mouth shut and let people draw their own fucking conclusions, no matter how bad they were. That's my opinion on that. I don't know enough about him. I thought I heard someone allude that he says some real, I wouldn't say spicy, that's not the word, some real lewd shit to women in the past. I think I heard somebody said he threatened to cut somebody's titties off. That's a fucking problem if that's true. And he ain't healed, he ain't delivered. If he's a grown man and could concoct some shit like that up in his mind. I mean, if you're a male listening to the sound of my voice right now, has it ever crossed your mind to cut off a woman's titties? And if it has, I'm here to tell you, you a sick motherfucker. Such thoughts should never cross your mind. You should, when you think of titties, your next thought should be caressing them. Nope. Nope. As I was saying, if a titty pops up in your mind, your next thought should be caressing them, perhaps kissing them, perhaps, playing with them with your hands, whatever niggas do with titties, right? But if thoughts of blood and cutting them off run by your mind, I'm telling you, you need to go seek help ASAP. Those are not the thoughts that should coincide with the image of a titty in your mind. So that's a fucking problem. And if that be true, that lets me know he's still a sick motherfucker. Now, when he was 11, depending on what the situation was, children can be exposed to stuff as they are now more than ever with these smartphones and stuff. Little children be seeing porn, whereas if you're around my age, you were never exposed to porn as a child. Most people, unless somebody showed it to you, you just didn't pick up the telephone and see porn like you do these cell phones, right? But 11 and 6, let's think about those ages, okay? There's been situations with me working in the schools, and investigators and, the sexual assault units and all that stuff, detectives, they know the difference between kids exploring, experimenting. That's one thing that does require counseling. But as a well-seasoned detective in these particular units, again, they know the difference between kids exploring, experimenting, as opposed to a kid sexually assaulting another kid when it's clearly evident that it was a sexual assault, which is beyond experimenting, exploring. That's when law enforcement comes in, and that's when you get taken out of the home and all of that stuff. Kids will explore and experiment. You play house or play doctor, that's experimenting. When you are 11 or 12 and you brutally rape a child who's 6 or 7, that's a whole nother animal. So given the circumstances of Rudemp's case, it definitely wasn't a matter of kids exploring or experimenting. Otherwise, he wouldn't have went through all that probation stuff. And I'm sure it's more detailed than that, okay? Especially if it was a brutal sexual assault. He was put away someplace for some time, which I think he was. And I'm more inclined to believe that now out of me hearing somebody mention he threatened to cut somebody's titties off. There's something wrong with that boy. And he's not a boy anymore. He's a grown man. If he was 11, let me see, 13, 23, He's about 43, 44 years old. I wouldn't leave no kids around him. Not if he can conjure up images of cutting off somebody's titty. That's some sick shit right there. Now, had he never made such statements to women online, and this information came out, you do a background check and you haven't seen any situations of molestation or any sexual things with children except for when he was 11, I would say leave him be. Oh, and I have to add an ingredient. If the situation wasn't a straight out sexual assault, I would say leave him be. If it was, exploring, experimentation. I'm not saying that's right and it's okay for kids to do. I'm just saying it does happen. Again, the issue comes into play when it's a straight out sexual assault, violence, and all that good stuff. Hey, V-Dub. Did I say all that good stuff? All that bad stuff, I mean. And I'm inclined to think that it was a straight on sexual assault, perhaps even violent, if he can threaten to cut some woman's titties off. It's a problem. It's a problem. Sick. You know, I don't know what else to say about this situation. Just don't leave your kids around him. And if he ain't gonna tell the truth, since he's talking, you might as well, be honest all the way or shut the fuck up. Because if you lie, at least for me, you lying about it makes me think that situation was really bad. And the fact that the court and judges was involved, it was really, really, really fucking bad. If it happened when you were 11, 12, whatever the case may be, and you was well into your 20s and still on probation, that was a really bad fucking situation. Really bad. Really bad. So since you, Rudemp, feel a need to tell a bunch of fucking strangers on the internet about that situation, well, lie about it anyway, you might as well speak and tell the truth. Be honest, it could be cathartic and therapeutic for you. Tell the truth of what happened and be real about your part, what you did. If you can, if you know, talk about why you did it. How did that come across your mind? Were you exposed to something? Did somebody do something to you? Were you privy to VHS porn tapes or something that you got a hold of and you would sneak and watch? Was your family stealing cable where they had that nasty channel? Were you watching that and got some ideas? Something. You remember back in the day, get them cable boxes and them nasty channels be on? He was doxxed. You know, you being truthful, Rudemp, honestly, it can do nothing but help somebody. For real, for real. It will help me. Help me to gain more insight. But yeah, I know kids who did just what you did, Rudemp. I know kids who did shit 10 times worse than what you did. I know kids, again, done 10 times worse than what you did. And I have no confidence in them becoming law abiding, productive citizens. They're just future sexual predators that scare the hell out of me. They scare the hell out of me now, and it scares the hell out of me to think how they are going to be as adults. And you know what? It's the ones that I see. They're cute now, but you can see they're going to be really handsome when they become young adults. Pretty smile. I can see they're going to have pretty smile and dimples. Girls are going to be clamoring all over them and have no clue that this is a sick motherfucker. They'll be clueless. It would be hard to think the things that go through their mind as cute and handsome they're going to be. That to me is frightening. What was that? I don't live here, so I hear shit. Who was that? I don't know. Did y'all hear that? I heard that. All right. Yeah, it's frightening. I can't even give you any anecdotes. In other words, real detailed situations that I know of concerning predatory kids. But if I did tell you, it will knock your fucking socks off. And when they get caught doing things, just because they're in captivity, doesn't mean they stop doing those things. Hey, what is that? I keep hearing stuff clamoring. Oh, that's aluminum foil. Okay. Those urges just don't stop. So even in captivity, the kitty jails, they still try to act out, and sometimes they're successful in doing things to other kids, sexual things, by force. Sometimes it's by consent only because the other kid is scared. So those urges are always there, and they're in therapy to learn about themselves, learn about their feelings, their thoughts, their triggers, and hopefully it'll be a therapeutic progression where they can learn how to control those urges, you know. But yeah, those urges don't stop. We do all that we can to, you know, help them out. Some are successful with treatment and some will not be. You just never know what goes through a person's mind. Like there was a serial killer, Edward Kemp. One of the FBI agents of the Behavioral Science Unit. Those were the ones that coined the term of serial killers and things like that. And they would go around the country interviewing serial killers. And so one of them, I believe might have been John Douglas, went and interviewed Edward Kemp. Sat down with him, and asked him, said, if you're walking down the street and you see a pretty lady, what do you think? What goes through your mind? He said, if I'm walking down the street and I see a pretty woman, there's a part of me that wants to, approach her and ask her name and talk with her. He said, but then there's another part of me that wonders what her head would look like on a stick. That's what that man said. You don't know what goes through people's minds. Who would think such a thing? Who would have such thoughts? Have you ever had such a thought? You ever saw a woman, and just imagined what her head would look like on a stick? Does that go through your mind? If so, you's a crazy motherfucker and you need to seek help. Yeah, man. So Rudemp threatened to cut somebody's titties off. I wonder what other things go through his mind. And now that we know what he was taken away for as a preteen, I wouldn't trust no female, no child. I wouldn't trust nobody around him. Glad I know this about him. I never interacted with him before, and I definitely ain't gonna do it now. But anyway, I am gonna go now. Thank you, V-Dub and Concrete Jungle, for stopping by. I see other people in the bushes. You can come down and say hello. I'd appreciate it. I'll wait on you for about 2 minutes before I go. I'm about to have me some ribs. Hey, Dre, good to see you too. Peace. Anybody else? None of you other 6, well, say 3 other people care to say, hello, Madam Whip-Ass. How are you? I'm not even worthy for you to come out the bushes and say, hello, Madam Whip-Ass. How are you? Hey, B Money. Thank you. How are you? All right. Appreciate you. Yeah, so as I conclude this little short video, let me ask, anybody here know of any other weird shit Rudemp had stated to someone along the lines of cutting somebody's titties off? Has he said some other things over the years you can think of? Has he ever said anything that gave you pause and thought, like, and it just flurried out of your mind and you just went on chatting or whatever? I just got a question. Anybody have an idea? No? Okay. I was just curious. But finally, again, Rudemp, not that I expect him to watch this video. He probably doesn't even know who the fuck I am. But in case he does, I suggest if you're going to talk about it, just be honest. Tell the truth. Tell the truth of what you did, what exactly happened. No matter how bad it is, just be truthful and honest. And I think in the end, one, you'll help somebody, and two, I think you'll gain a lot of respect for that. And I'm not saying everybody's going to respect you. You know, you still gonna have some people, this and that, the chomo. But, those in the therapeutic community, those who may be social workers as a profession and stuff would have a different type of understanding. That's all I'm saying. All right. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll catch up with you later. Peace.